I bid you welcome. I am a little goblin who likes to do makeup, and today we are going to create my take on Southern Goth style and makeup while we chit-chat about the literary style of writing and how it influenced my own style and understanding of goth. So let's get into it. Southern Goth is a style of literature that is defined by its focus on life in the South while incorporating things into its story that make it goth. Like, the grotesque hidden lives of the characters, their twisted insides as well as outsides might be full on display there. Like, the author may choose to give the character some sort of flawed outer feature to push certain narratives in the story, or to make it known that their character is flawed like this in some way, which I really enjoy those certain themes of goth literature. But the one thing about the Southern Goth is that it either has outright or undertones of discussions of the South's rich trauma. And we're doing our foundation a little different today. We're going to try something out here for this style that I've never done before, but we'll see how it goes. That's what this is all about, just playing around and chit-chatting about stuff. Now, I did have to go back in here and add just a little bit more of that, like, pinky color in there, but other than that, we'll let it sit here for a little while we add some fake little freckles. But with Southern Goth, there's not always a supernatural element to the story, as human nature can often be terrifying enough in these stories and in real life. So, that's always a thing. With authors like William Faulkner and Ralph Ellison, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong and I sincerely apologize. I'm doing my best here. They use their style of writing and their life experiences to write rich, stories that transport you to a different time and a different mindset, and they're very, like, it's encapsulating. The way that they write, you feel like you are there and you are trapped in this bubble, and it immerses you further into the story, but it also, like, almost puts you there firsthand, so you're forced to deal with the same things that the characters are dealing with. Someone who's never been to the South, I am running off of, like, things that I've read and stuff like that to form my own opinions of Southern Goth and things of that nature. So take it with a grain of salt, as I'm just a girl from Pennsylvania. I'm doing my best here. Now, I did go in with just a little bit of setting powder, but I didn't set all of it completely with setting powder. I went over it with a little bit of, like, tans and a little bit of, like, pinky tans and stuff like that to kind of set it out. And before we get back onto our topic of literature, I would like to completely derail us for a little mini rant about freckles here. So one of my aunts is basically a walking freckle. She is just covered completely head to toe with freckles and everything. So whenever I'm going to do fake freckles, I'm always reminded of her and people who are like, oh, you know, you can always tell when they're fake because of the patterns. And, like, listen, I have looked at this woman my entire life, and there will be spots of them where they will be completely lined up or all diagonal like that. You could play, like, connect the dots or something, and then there'll be parts where there is, like, 6 or 7 of them that are all congealed in, like, this big freckle. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that you can always tell. I think freckles kind of, like, are their own thing. They kind of just do whatever they want, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Little rant here on the side. I try to do my eyebrows and talk at the same time. I'm always so good at that. I think that looks pretty good. I didn't want it to be super archy anyway. I'm trying to give off a soft look, not a what are you doing look. But anyway, back onto the topic at hand here. When I thought of goth as a kid, it was always this mix of like 90s goth aesthetic and what at the time I didn't realize was Southern Goth. You know, the big flowing dresses, not always in black, the light makeup because of the weather, and like, I don't know, the big fluffy hair and the heavy crosses and lace and stuff like that. There we go. We're starting to come together here a little bit. And admittedly, as a kid, I used to lay around and daydream about being in one of those big dresses and frolicking through a field or something like that. And in all honesty, now that I'm a little bit older, I imagine that would go over about as well as it would in Pennsylvania if I tried that, which is not very well. I would be covered in bugs and ticks galore and probably more humidity. Yeah, that's another thing, the humidity. Oh, good Lord. It would have to be on a low humidity day because if you live in an area where there's often high humidity, eating the air when you go outside is never any fun. And I don't know how else to describe it other than that because it's just so gross when you go out there. That's one of the main differences between there and the Midwest, I think, is where I'm at now. It's like a dry heat. There's very little humidity in the air. I'm thankful for that, and at the same time, the 8 months of winter for the swap, not worth it. Not even a little bit. As someone who likes to read, I was introduced to Gothic literature far before I ever even considered Southern Goth a thing. And I took a Gothic literature class when I was in college, and I, for some reason, thought that I would just get to write goth fan fiction. I was trying to leave me alone. I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to sit around and write about stories about how much I like Dracula and I'm a brooding young lady and he would want to make me one of his wives or something like that. I don't know what I honestly thought it was, but much like regular Gothic literature, the Gothic subculture has like all of these heavy themes of like romance in these dark areas, settings, things of that nature, even the people. When it comes to goth literature, I'm sure most people know one of the most common like examples of it, which is The Tale of Dracula, written by Bram Stoker. Bram, it's the R and it's like Brahmin. No fallout here. But that is another piece of excellent goth literature. And then anything by Mary Shelley. I'm sure you know Frankenstein. She is the mother of goth literature. And everybody knows Frankenstein, but I much prefer The Last Man. It is a post-apocalyptic, like, dystopian novel she wrote about people in England living during the plague. And it's really good. I don't want to give away too much here because I honestly think you should go read it. There are a couple places for free online that you can go. Maybe I'll even leave that down below just to encourage you to go read some books or listen to some books. Either way, I am not an elitist. I just personally can't listen to books because I get lost in thought and then I'm like creating my own image despite what I was already doing. Like, oh, I can no longer be doing work now because I'm so focused on what this person looks like and sounds like in my head that I can't do it now. So I commend people that can do audiobooks. I like how my lisp lingers regardless of whether or not I have my retainer in at this point. I feel like I'm gonna have to go get like speech therapy now that I'm done with my braces and everything. Gotta love it. So not only did my little Bertram decide that he needed a nap right in the middle of the video that I was trying to record while talking about literature, but I also put one of my eyelashes directly in my eye. So I apologize for the absolute chaos that always is my videos, but it just is life at this point, and that's what I get for saying I'm a chaotic neutral. I'm gonna attempt to do a little stain with this lip stain and then use a gloss over top of it. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say, if you haven't already seen the start of my Cosmetic Noir series, then you don't know that I'm absolutely in love with these lip stains. They're versatile, they're good as lipsticks, all kinds of goodies. I love them. I'm gonna take my little brush over here as soon as I can find it. And I'm gonna just try and pat around with some of the eyeshadow. It looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit more blending here, but I'm probably not gonna be able to do a whole lot of talking, so I mean, it'll just be me like but y'all did miss out. Oh, see, the Southern's coming out. It's not yins now, it's y'all. Since everybody missed the majority of my commentary because I'm almost positive I wasn't talking loud enough, I really need to start projecting. I'm just gonna start yelling now, no matter what. Even if my mic's on, I'm just gonna be like, ah! Make sure everybody can hear me like 2 houses down, just to be sure if my little mic decides it's nap time that I'm still able to be heard. So I've got my little gloss here. Oh, I wonder if I can put this on my eyes too. It doesn't say that I can't on the bottle, so I might just do like a little swipe up on my eyelids, give it that like dewy look. I've never been able to like perfectly pull off a dewy look. I either look sweaty and cakey or it's just matte, you know. I've never been able to do it well, and I think part of my problem is that I can't not set parts of my face, like, because I'm always like setting my hand on it by accident or rubbing on it. I would just end up with most of my makeup rubbed off if I didn't actually set it properly. But I'm gonna mess around maybe with my lips a little bit more here, but this is just about like the final look here. I'm gonna attempt to curl my hair a little bit, throw on some clothes here, some other clothes. I'm obviously wearing clothes. Throw on some other clothes here, and we'll be right back with the final look. I don't know why we're finger gunning today. I guess it's like, I don't know. I'm just holding you all hostage with my little fingers. This is it. This is the final look for my Southern Goth style. I've got some light jewelry paired with my hair being all fluffed up and ruffly underneath this veil and hat. Got my lace gloves and everything. And then I have paired it with this beautiful dress that I have thrifted and added my own little flair to with a bow in the back. Got chunky boots under there somewhere. Got my little cross belt on. And I think I'd pass off for Southern Goth in this. When I saw this dress in the thrift store, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it and what kind of look I was going to pair with it. So I hope it comes off to you guys as much as it does to me. I love this color too. Everything that I find in it, I must have. Subscribe if you want to see more looks like this one, or maybe, you know, some books and arting around. Like, comment, do all the things, but the most important things, stay well, stay hydrated, stay chaotic. Bye.